The Heartbreaking Case of Grant Hendrickson and Michelle Cartagena, True Crime Documentary. Who were Grant Hendrickson and Michelle Cartagena? What happened to them on January 3, 1995? What was the possible cause of the brutal murders of two Mercer University students whose bodies were discovered in a white Honda Accord the previous evening? Grant Hendrickson, 22, and Michelle Cartagena, 19, had been dating for a while and were academically successful. They had discussed marriage according to their friends. Were there any clues or motives that could explain why they were killed? First and foremost, let's delve deeper into the background of the victims. On May 2, 1975, Michelle Lee Cartagena was born in Monterey County, California, to parents Louise and Chris S. Cartagena. She was a Spencer High School's valedictorian and was born and raised close to Columbus. She was a member of the school marching band, the top singles tennis player, and the captain of the softball team Asper High School in 1992. As a member of Beta Club and the National Honor Society, Michelle received academic scholarships from Mercer and Emory universities, with the latter additionally providing a tennis grant. She reportedly dated Patrick Grant Hendrickson for nearly a year in January 1995, according to reports. On September 20th, 1972, he was conceived by Patrick M. Hendrickson and Mary Hendrickson in Mason, Bibb County, Georgia. He was an aspiring musician who played bass in a band and volunteered his services as a soundman for Mason Theater Company. He played baseball and church league softball, and his youth league soccer coach called him Gentle Ben. Grant had participated in a co-op program that promised a job after graduation. People who knew the couple assumed that their active lifestyles were what drew them together. So it came as a shock when the young couple was shot and killed while driving Michelle's parents' white Honda, which they had given her for Christmas. So, what really happened on the night of January 2nd, 1995? On the evening of January 2nd, Grant Hendrickson and Michelle Cartagena embarked on a seemingly ordinary outing to grab dinner and catch a movie. Little did they know that this would be the last time they were seen alive. As investigators delved into the perplexing case, they started reconstructing the events leading up to their tragic demise. John Ambrose, a diligent railroad worker, unintentionally found himself entangled in this enigma. He happened to witness Grant and Michelle driving towards the movie theater that fateful evening. The couple's white Honda Accord cruised along in the right lane when suddenly a blue Honda CRX abruptly swerved in front of them. The CRX seemingly intentionally decelerated in front of Michelle's vehicle, forcing her to do the same. John, a mere spectator in this unfolding drama, lost sight of both cars as he exited the highway. Later that evening, after enjoying a movie together, Grant and Michelle decided to take a leisurely drive to a picturesque overlook near Lake Juliet. Coincidentally, John Ambrose happened to be passing by the same area when once again he caught sight of Grant, Michelle, and the enigmatic CRX. The distinctive parking lights of the CRX immediately caught John's attention, and he witnessed Michelle's car slowly descending towards the parking area at the scenic overlook. However, the serene beauty of the location masked the sinister events that were about to unfold. The next morning, on January 3, 1995, tragedy struck when the lifeless bodies of Grant Hendrickson and Michelle Cartagena were discovered inside her white Honda Accord. Their lives had been brutally extinguished the previous evening, leaving the community and their families in a state of shock and disbelief. The investigation took a chilling turn as the details of the crime scene were unveiled. It was revealed that Grant had suffered 2 fatal shots to the skull from a 9mm Ruger pistol, while Michelle had been subjected to a vicious assault before meeting her untimely demise. Her body had been callously dragged approximately 20 feet after being removed from the vehicle. The motive behind this heinous act remained shrouded in mystery, perplexing both the police officers assigned to the case and the grieving families left grappling for answers. Grant and Michelle were young students at Mercer University, academically successful and seemingly content in their relationship. Friends even mentioned that the couple had contemplated the possibility of marriage. So why did their promising lives come to such a gruesome and abrupt end? The curious sequence of events leading up to their deaths only added to the intrigue surrounding the case. The encounter with the blue Honda CRX, both at the movie theater and near Lake Juliet, left many wondering about its significance. Was it a mere coincidence, or did the driver of the CRX play a more sinister role in this tragedy? As the investigation into the shocking murders of Grant Hendrickson and Michelle Cartagena unfolded, new witnesses emerged, shedding light on the chilling events that transpired that fateful night. Around 12:30 a.m., two teenagers who happened to be parked near the lake became unwitting observers to a tragedy that would forever haunt them. They spotted the enigmatic CRX entering the parking lot, and within moments, they were startled by the sound of gunfire reverberating through the night. The echoes of the shot were still ringing in their ears when they witnessed the CRX hastily leaving the scene. Overwhelmed by the curiosity and concern, they approached the vehicle, only to discover the lifeless bodies of Grant and Michelle. The initial evidence seemed to implicate the CRX as the murderer's car, intensifying the focus on this mysterious vehicle. However, a breakthrough came when Steve Boyd, a fresh witness, bravely came forward with his account of events. Steve revealed that on the evening of January 2nd, he was in the parking lot of the movie theater. He recalled observing a heated exchange between a young man, who he later identified as Grant, and another man. The confrontation seemed to be fueled by alcohol, as the individual appeared to be intoxicated. After their altercation, both men boarded a white pickup truck and departed from the scene. The detectives wasted no time in capitalizing on this lead and brought Stephen Boyd in for a lineup of photographs. In a crucial moment, Stephen pointed out Michelle's friend, a person who had harbored romantic feelings for her. He suggested that if this individual was inebriated, his emotions could have spiraled into violence. This revelation opened up a new avenue of investigation, redirecting attention to someone closer to the victims. The motive behind the murders began to take shape as the focus shifted towards the complex dynamics of Grant and Michelle's relationships. Was jealousy or unrequited love the catalyst for this brutal crime? With each new detail, the case became more intricate, leaving the investigators to meticulously piece together the puzzle of Grant and Michelle's final moments. The haunting image of the CRX coming and going from the parking lot raised questions about its involvement in the crime. Was it the getaway vehicle, or was there a deeper connection between the driver of the CRX and the events that unfolded? As the investigation deepened, the police and the families of the victims grappled with a myriad of emotions: grief, confusion, and a desperate thirst for justice. Michelle's friend provided detectives with an alibi while denying any involvement in the crime. However, authorities were unable to verify it. He was regarded as a suspect. Despite this, authorities were unable to connect him to the CRX that was noticed at the crime scene. The case remained unsolved. Who murdered Michelle Cartagena and Patrick Hendrickson? During the relentless pursuit of justice in the case of Grant Hendrickson and Michelle Cartagena, the police embarked on a thorough investigation, leaving no stone unturned in their quest for answers. Their efforts led them to an intriguing discovery, as campers near Lake Juliet reported hearing gunshots on the night of January 2nd. Further testimonies revealed that a Honda CRX from the 1980s had been parked near the entrance, and it hastily departed the scene immediately after the shots rang out. Forensic analysis conducted by the ballistics report revealed the grim details of the murder weapons. It was determined that the perpetrator had used an AR-15 rifle and a 9mm Ruger handgun to end the lives of Grant and Michelle. The evidence left behind in the form of dried saliva on Michelle's legs became a valuable resource for the crime lab in their pursuit of identifying the culprit through DNA analysis. Driven by an unwavering determination, the investigators meticulously combed through an extensive list of potential leads. They embarked on a painstaking process of interviewing anyone who had sold or pawned a Colt AR-15 rifle within a 2-year time frame. The search extended to every significant pawn shop and gun dealer within a 150-mile radius of Mason, leaving no possibility unexplored. With over 2,000 leads to follow up on, the task at hand was daunting. but the detectives were resolute in their pursuit of justice. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. As the investigation pressed on, the tireless efforts of the investigators were met with countless dead ends and false leads. Finally, after tireless persistence, the investigators achieved a breakthrough. A single lead emerged from the multitude of inquiries and interviews, shedding light on a potential avenue of investigation. The case began to gain momentum as new threads were carefully woven together, connecting individuals, locations, and evidence. One of Mason's well-known businesses gave GBI agent Randy Upton a list of customers who had bought AR-15 rifles between 1985 and 1995. He methodically looked through the 108 individuals on the list, contacted them, and disqualified them using forensic and ballistic evidence. On November 27, 1996, he got in touch with Andy Allen Cook and requested a sample of saliva and permission to examine his gun. Andy first claimed to have the firearm, but afterwards changed his story, saying that his father worked for the FBI. Andy had returned his AR-15 rifle to the gun store in May 1995, 5 months after the murders, when Randy suspiciously checked the records. The detectives also discovered that Andy, who was too young to purchase a firearm, had a friend buy him a 9mm Ruger handgun in December 1993. In July 1995, he also sold the weapon to a friend. The detectives discovered Andy was the owner of a 1987 Honda CRX at the time of the murders when trying to locate the relevant weapons from their present owners. Cook and a friend were talking about the worst thing you ever did in late November 1996, according to a witness who worked with Cook at a diaper manufacturer. Cook claimed to have used an AR-15 to kill a person. Cook's companion was skeptical and questioned why he did it. In response, Cook said he did it to see if I could do it and get away with it. Cook resisted offering any additional information. The friend said that Cook took a call on his pager the next day at work and left his desk to answer it. After waiting for 15 minutes, Cook reappeared looking as white as a ghost. He spit the tobacco he had been chewing into a trash can and muttered, "I've gotta go." Cook claimed that the GBI had contacted him and wanted to speak with him about what he and the friend had discussed the day before, as well as to do a saliva test. In reference to the saliva, he claimed, "That's a DNA test right there, so they got my ass." Another buddy claimed that Cook informed him in late November 1996 that he had to leave the city because it was getting hot. On December 4th, 1996, the detectives went to Andy Cook's home but were unable to locate him. They then got in touch with his father, John Cook. John had over 3 decades of experience with the government organization. John consented to work with law enforcement and help them find his son. He repeatedly paged his son, and about 11 p.m., Andy called him back. After claiming to have clashed with Grant, Andy admitted to shooting the couple, according to John's testimony. Andy claims that Grant reportedly threatened him with a pellet gun while he was out fishing at Lake Juliet. Andy claimed he fired at the couple out of self-defense because he believed it to be a genuine gun. On his father's advice, Andy declined to give himself in, though. Several of his friends said that he had admitted to shooting them dead with an AR-15. He had allegedly admitted to killing them to see if he could get away with it to one of his friends. The slugs from his weapon matched those discovered at the crime scene, according to ballistic testing. Additional investigation revealed that his Ruger handgun was also used in the killings. He was identified by DNA testing thanks to cigarette spit that was discovered on Michelle's calf. The trial and capital punishment. Andy Cook stated that he would flee and vanish. On December 5th, 1995 at around 4 p.m., John and Tom Benson, his FBI boss, met with Monroe County Sheriff John Biddick. John was worried that his son might hurt himself. A game warden detained Andy the same day for shooting deer and turkeys outside of the legal season and using a phony identity. He was being held at the Jones County Sheriff's Office when Randy tried to speak with him. In accordance with court records, Andy allegedly remarked, "Get my father, get me a lawyer, and I'll tell you what you want to hear." After being taken to Monroe County, Andy had a private meeting with his father, and he admitted to lying about Grant possessing a pellet pistol. He acknowledged fabricating the incident to make it appear as though there had been an assault or robbery before randomly shooting the pair. After his DNA matched the DNA sample taken from Michelle's legs, he was charged with 2 counts of felony murder and 2 counts of malice murder. These charges must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Tragically, in Andy's March 1998 trial, John served as the main witness against his son. In court, John Cook gave testimony regarding his son's admissions. For the murder of Michelle, Andy was given the death penalty. For the murder of Grant, he was given a subsequent life term. On March 19, 1999, the Georgia Supreme Court upheld Cook's convictions and death sentence. Before being put to death on February 22, 2013, the 38-year-old expressed regret and an apology to the victims' family members. According to sources, "I'm sorry. I'm not going to beg your pardon. Even I am incapable of handling it," were his final words.